Tottenham are so easy to play against. They're so easy to play against.
You are right, Kate. Obviously, you spoke about the game yesterday. I just sort of feel 24 hours later, there's a lot of people calling for Ange to go. I watched a lot of reactions on sort of watch-alongs yesterday and people phoning into TalkSport. A lot of people calling him out. And then there's another group of Spurs fans which are almost, they understand maybe the flaws in Ange, but they feel that it's more about the squad that had built for him, the money that's being spent and the direction the club's going in at kind of board level. How are you seeing this, Kate? Maybe 24 hours on after that defeat, considering you are sitting mid-table.
Look, if you take Arsenal to Liverpool, right, and you take out Saliba, Gabriel and Raya, they're at a massive disadvantage straight away. And Arsenal's substitutes, their second choices are far better than ours. No one is taking into consideration the fact that we're down to the bare bones of our team. Yes, everyone says that we can't make excuses, but this isn't an excuse, it's a fact. We've got 8 injuries and their key starting positions. Davis, who actually has been playing well. I mean, Henry mentioned the Man United, how we nearly threw it away. That's nothing to do with Ange at all. That was Forster making 2 ridiculous errors. Yesterday, look, we showed some naivety. I definitely think Ange, there's ways he can improve. I was personally expecting to see more of the team and the style of play we played against Man City, where we dropped the high line back a bit. The fullback don't defend, don't invert, and we kind of get them on the counter attack. But I don't honestly think we've got the team at the moment that can play that way. We're missing Bentancur as well, who's been playing out of his skin for us. And it's just, I just think Spurs fans, they make me laugh because all they did when we had Conte and Mourinho is scream for an attacking manager. Now we've got an attacking manager. They want us to be more pragmatic. I agree. There is somewhere in the middle where we need to be. But what on earth is the point of sacking Ange Postecoglou right now? All we're going to do is put Ryan Mason there, who's done it before, and he's useless. If we're going to sack Ange, give him to the end of the season, see where we're sat, and then take it from there. We're still potentially in 3 cup competitions, right? We can. It's been a long time since Tottenham have got to Christmas and still be in 3 cup competitions. I said at the start of the season, I'll take finishing 15th if we win a cup. I still feel that way. For me, we need to get that monkey off our back and get a cup and get a trophy. But I just don't understand why, if we had a plan in place and we had a good manager sitting and waiting to come in, it's different. But there's no plan. We're literally just going to bring in Ryan Mason. So I don't see the point. I'd rather just see how it goes to the end of the season. And then if it doesn't work, start again.
Mm-hmm. Wait, but Kate, you brought up the injuries that you guys have, but I don't think that actually matters because even when you do have Van de Ven and Romero, you guys still can't keep clean sheets. So yeah, I get what you're saying in terms of like the quality.
City. We kept a clean sheet against Man United. There's 2, and both away from home.
Who was your centre-back partnership against City, Kate?
It was Ben Davis. Right, do you see what I mean? It was an experienced head. We haven't got any experience in the back line. You've got
I've got a question for you on that, Kate. Of your last 35 games in the Premier League, going back into last season, your last 45 games, you have lost 20 of them, and I believe you have drawn. I'm just going to get this stat right. So 4 in that period last season and 2. So you've lost of those 45 games. You've lost 20 and you've drawn 6. And I understand you've got those centre-back issues now, but you haven't had those centre-back issues that entire time. You've had them play in that. And the win percentage has been very, barring those opening 10 games, well, I think he won 9 of them. The win percentage has been very, very low indeed. Whether you've got injuries or not, it still seems to lead to the same problems. And you've asked me a few weeks ago about sticking by Ange, and I look at it this way. Listen, if your replacement for him is just going to be Mason, whatever his name is, then yeah, Ryan Mason, then I get where you're coming from. But I'm at this point where maybe Tottenham fans have just got to ask for something that's in the middle of what they're trying to. I think I agree with Will 100%. If Big Ange took over Bayern Munich, I think he could do phenomenal. If he took over Real Madrid, I think he could do phenomenal. I think he needs to manage a team that's in a league where they are the or one of 2 monopoly teams. I think that's what he needs. I think that's his kind of profile of club. What Tottenham need is Bournemouth's manager. What Tottenham need is somebody that can, and please don't take this as an insult. You guys are never going to buy the best players or keep them, typically speaking. So you need a manager who is in that kind of middle of the road area, who I think can adjust his team and can adapt. And there's so much to what Big Ange does, which I think is brilliant. But I did look at yesterday. You got 2-1, and you had no right being at 2-1 before half time. What most competent tacticians would do at that point is, right, guys, let's see out the next 5 minutes. Let's get to half time. Let's make it hard for Liverpool at the start of the second half. There's one goal in it. The fact you were so open for those last 5 minutes and you conceded, it actually annoyed me. And Jamie Carragher said something yesterday that made me think. Has any manager, cup or league, ever won a trophy in a major league playing like Ange does? A team like Tottenham. I just can't think of anyone who plays that openly and that expansively who's ever won anything. And I'm not saying managing the best team in that league or something. I'm talking in the scenario we're in. I can't think of anyone who's been successful doing it. And that's where I think this Spurs board have got to look at this and say, have we got the right manager for how we want to behave as a football club? And this is why I'm saying I don't think it's about Ange being crap. I think it's about him not being right for Tottenham. Because to go 45 games in the league, to lose 20 of them, that's crazy. When you actually, it's really not good. I was looking at that from a point of view of like relegation. If you look at last year's relegated teams, like two of the teams that went down last season lost 24 matches. You're only 4 defeats behind, slightly bigger sample size because it's 45 games, granted, but sort of 20 to 30 games being lost is the sort of space that the relegation teams sit in. And you win loads as well. You don't draw as many as those teams. You win them. But I'm at a point, not that Spurs fans care too much about my opinion, but I think if your board ain't changing, your club has got to look to move on from Big Ange and find something more suitable for what they want to do.
The problem is on that though. Just one sec. Sorry, Kate. If we to Kate's point, if we sack Ange, they will bring in Ryan Mason because it's a dilemma because I want to sack.
Whoa! A dilemma.
A dilemma.
Too many words going around.
Chocolate bar, no?
If we sack Ange right now, which competent manager is looking at us right now going, yeah, I fancy a bit of that. But at the same time, if let's say we do get knocked out against Liverpool and we're sitting 13th, 14th in the league, I don't know. Is it a double-edged sword? If we get past Liverpool, by all means. If he wins as a cup and gets that monkey off our back, every single Spurs fan would be over the moon to finally see a bit of silverware.
What about him?
And we're sitting 14th still, it's kind of like, well, what do we do now then?
What about Eric Diamella? He's pretty good. He can come in and manager, can't he?
Look at Silver at Fulham. They don't have a superior squad, but look at the way he played against Arsenal. Look at the way he played against Spurs or Liverpool. He's changing his approach to the way he plays against Brighton or against Villa. Like, no, we've had Nuno. Nottingham Forest don't have a better squad than us. No way.
You weren't happy with Nuno, Henry.
No, you didn't treat Nuno very well.
Yeah, you didn't treat him right, man. Look, when he got treated right, look at him. He's top 4 now with Nottingham Forest. Bit of backing, bit of patience.
Yeah, he did well at Wolves as well before that. He got Wolves solid, man.
Give him a proper striker like Chris Wood instead of some Harry Kane, and all of a sudden he never seems hard.
Dead guy.
But then you've also got to look at some of the players we've bought for Ange. Like, I'm not even going to get started on our transfer policy.
Kate, though, the first question to you, I don't want to trigger Spurs fans, but I have to ask it this way. Do you think that when Nuno came in, I always felt he was on a hiding to nothing. And I'm very open about this. Nuno was a manager that I used to work with when I was at Barclays. I knew him quite well back then. He's a lovely bloke. So I got a bit of a soft spot for him. But I felt like when he came in, there was almost like an arrogance from the Tottenham fans. Oh, we're better than this. And I didn't think that set him up for the best of times at Tottenham. No, I did. Yeah. Do you think some of this is on Tottenham fans for maybe thinking you're a bigger, better, more successful club than you actually are? Like living above, almost like the sort of champagne lifestyle, but lemonade money.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it.
Do you know what? First of all, I was pleased when we got Nuno. I wasn't on YouTube then, but I was pleased. I liked Nuno. I got a lot of time for him. And I think with the way Spurs treated him was a disgrace. I certainly think Tottenham fans think they're better than they are. I think I've said it before. Getting to the Champions League final lifted everyone's expectations up here when really we weren't ready to be up there, you know. And the thing is, we've had these win now managers. Conte's always won trophies wherever he's gone. Comes to Spurs, win nothing. Mourinho, all right, he was sacked before the final, but won nothing. Nuno's doing a fantastic job at Forest. AVB, Redknapp, Pochettino, all these managers. There's one common denominator in all this, and it's Daniel Levy. And yes, Ange Postecoglou has come out and said, these are my signings, these are my signings. But at the end of the day, he's not going to come out and say they're not. Number one, because then he loses the dressing room. Number two, he loses his job. So people can throw the blame and say Werner was signed twice by Ange. Does anyone honestly, really, truly think Ange Postecoglou looked all through the transfers possible and he chose Werner twice? Come on.
No, I agree. I agree.
And it was the same with Conte. He was asking for players and getting the Primark version. I don't think it matters who manages my club. I don't think it matters at all. All the while Levy's there. There's limitations on what they spend. There's limitations on what wages they pay, which is a massive limitation. So for me, whoever comes in, we could sack him and go and get, I don't know, Graham Potter or Thomas Frank. We'll be sitting here in 18 months having this same conversation. Pochettino was blessed. He had a fantastic squad that all gelled and clicked at the right time. There wasn't one massive dominant force at the time. We had our opportunity to take the sort of reins and push on. Levy decided we'd go 2-3 transfer windows, whatever it was, won't buy anyone. And instead we'd go and open a new stadium. And now look where we are.
But Kate, you brought in a manager that could kind of handle, is used to handling small resources in Nuno. And your fan base lost it. Like they didn't want him. They didn't want to give him time because he was playing terrorist football, as they said. But who knows? That could have been better for you in the long run than what has been going on in the last couple of years. You never know. I
can't speak to this fan base. I'm lost. I'm at a loss with this fan base. I think I'm too old for YouTube because the fan base of my club, I'm baffled by it. There's no pleasing some people. We win 4-0 and people are screaming on stream that we won 4-0. If we lose, they're screaming. If we have one manager, they're screaming. Another manager. Do you know what? I'm just at a loss. So I just prefer to just enjoy the ride. In the great words of Ronan Keating, life is a roller coaster. You've just got to ride it. And that is exactly what I do with Spurs. And whatever will be, will be. I can sit here and scream, Ange out. It ain't going to make any difference. Sorry,
go ahead, Tom. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Thomas Frank could be a good pickup for what
Tottenham... I was going to say, so you don't think you're a bad fan for backing Anzo and you're letting the club down?
Apparently, some people would say I'm not a proper fan, not a bad fan, but just not a proper one.
So you did call out Kate yesterday, Henry, very disgracefully for saying she's not my name. You said she weren't a proper fan because she's backing Ange, and then you said get the fuck out of my football club, you care. I heard you. Like,
no, the thing.
Didn't he write that in the group chat? No,
no, in the one that I'm in, he said tell this Kate to fuck off. And And he said Jimbo's a mug and I'll do him. That's what he said.
The thing for me is I think for Tottenham to get what Levy wants, we have got to be in the top 4, right? But this squad is nowhere near top 4 level. So there's got to be somewhere in the middle where we can be between 4th and 8th, which I think is where this squad is. I think this squad is anywhere between 6th and 8th. Place right now. While doing that, while being in Europe, I think a lot of Spurs fans would be content with that. If we were sitting 7th right now, I think a lot of Spurs fans would be like, do you know what? We're not far off the Europa League positions. Win a couple of games, we're in there. What annoys me is I can't see this manager ever changing anything. And the results speak for themselves. The stats add up. The writing's on the wall. So if we're going to continuously back a guy who has shown for the last 18 months, other than the first 10 games, that he's not willing to change, then what is the point in keeping him? What is the point in fucking turning up? I'll give you an example, right? Watch when we played Liverpool. The first 30 minutes, evening, Jim, the first 30 minutes would be absolutely fantastic. We'll come at the traps flying. We'll be right up for it. Then Arne Slot, right, will grab a hold of the game because he'll manage it. He'll get Gravenberch on the ball, who's press resistant and a fantastic footballer who's in unbelievable form. Then he'll get Szoboszlai right now, who's in I probably reckon that as his best performance he's had in his Liverpool career yesterday.
One of them, yeah.
Unbelievable. Then he's got McAllister. Then he'll get hold of the game. He'll get up a couple of goals. Our backside will fall out like it usually does. And then we've got to go to Anfield and try and win the game. And if we don't beat Liverpool, which I think is very unlikely that we will, we're going to be sitting where we are. So what is it?
But I do.